I never thought a simple beach photo would be the thing that ended my relationship. Looking back, maybe I should have seen it coming, but honestly, I still think Gordon was being ridiculous. I'm Elena, 26, and up until a week ago, I was in what I thought was a pretty solid relationship. Here's the thing, I've worked hard for my social media following. Those 8,000 followers didn't just appear overnight. It took viral TikToks, consistent posting, and knowing what content people actually want to see. Is it my fault that I happen to look good in a bikini? Sorry, not sorry. Gordon and I had been dating for 7 months. We met through mutual friends at a housewarming party. He kept looking at me from across the room, and eventually worked up the courage to come talk to me. He wasn't my usual type, honestly a bit nerdy with his graphic design job and weird obsession with vintage cameras. But he was sweet and attentive. Things were good between us, for the most part. The only real issue we'd had before all this drama was when he made some joke about his type being tall blondes. I'm 5'3" with brown hair, so obviously that didn't sit well with me. We had a little argument about it, but he apologized and said he was just making a dumb joke. Last weekend, I went to visit my mom in Tampa. We have this tradition where we spend a day at the beach and catch up on life. This time, my cousin Jade joined us. She'd just gone through a messy breakup, so Mom thought some sun and cocktails might cheer her up. We spent the whole day there, just sunbathing, swimming, and drinking. Mom kept saying how nice it was to have her girls with her, taking about 1,000,000 photos as usual. There was this one photo she took of me and Jade, sitting at the bar with our drinks, the ocean behind us, looking cute in our bikinis. Mine was this new emerald green two-piece I'd bought specifically for the trip. It perfectly matched my eyes and honestly made my figure look amazing. When I saw the photo, I immediately knew it was Instagram-worthy. The lighting was perfect, both Jade and I looked great, and you could see the beautiful ocean backdrop. I posted it with the caption, "Beach Day with the fam," and didn't think twice about it. Within an hour, it had gotten like 500 likes and a bunch of comments, mostly fire emojis and stuff like, "Looking good." Nothing inappropriate, just the usual engagement from my followers. That evening, after I got back to my apartment, Gordon called. I thought he was just checking in to see how my weekend was going, maybe tell me he missed me, cute boyfriend stuff. But the second I answered, I could tell something was off. "Hey, I saw your post," he said. "No hello, no how are you?" "Which one?" I asked, genuinely confused. "The bikini one," he said, and I immediately rolled my eyes. Thank God he couldn't see me through the phone. "Oh, that? Yeah, cute, right?" Mom took it. There was this long pause and then Gordon said, "Do you think it's appropriate to post something like that when you're in a relationship?" I literally laughed. I thought he was joking. "What? It's a beach photo, Gordon. It's not like I'm posing suggestively or anything." "Elena, it's a full body shot of you in a tiny bikini," he said, his voice getting that preachy tone I hate. "Your comments are full of guys hitting on you." "They're not hitting on me," I said, starting to get annoyed. "They're just engaging with my content. That's how social media works." "You don't think damn girl looking fine is hitting on you?" he asked. I had to stop myself from saying something really mean. "Gordon, I have 8,000 followers. Most of them are guys. Yeah, but that's just demographics. I can't control who follows me or what they comment." "You could make your account private," he suggested, like it was the most obvious solution in the world. "And lose all my engagement? No thanks." We argued back and forth for a while, with him saying the photo was disrespectful to our relationship, and me defending my right to post whatever I wanted. Eventually, we agreed to talk about it in person the next day. I was fuming after that call. Who did Gordon think he was to question my social media choices? I'd been building my following since before I even met him. Between us, I spent the next hour aggressively cleaning my apartment, it's what I do when I'm mad, while rehearsing all the things I should have said to him. The next morning, he texted asking if we could talk in person. Fine, whatever. I told him to come over after work. I spent the whole day checking my phone, watching the likes and comments on my beach post continue to climb. Each notification felt like a little victory, like proof that I was right and Gordon was wrong. Gordon looked tired when I let him in, like he hadn't slept much. Part of me felt a twinge of concern, but I squashed it down. He was the one making a big deal out of nothing. "I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday," he started, settling awkwardly on my couch. "I think we need to talk about boundaries in our relationship." I actually laughed. "Boundaries? Gordon, it's social media. It's not that deep." "It is to me," he insisted. "When I'm in a relationship with someone, I expect a certain level of, exclusivity? Not just physically, but in how we present ourselves to the world." "It's a beach photo," I repeated. "I was with my mom and cousin. It's not like I was at a club grinding on random guys." "Elena, be honest with yourself. You know exactly what you're doing with photos like that. You know your followers are mostly guys. You know what kind of attention you're getting." "So what?" I shot back. "So I have followers who think I'm attractive. That doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong." "It's disrespectful to our relationship," he said, his voice getting louder. "It makes me uncomfortable knowing that you're actively seeking that kind of attention from other men." "I'm not actively seeking anything," I said, making air quotes. "I'm just living my life and posting about it. If you can't handle that, then maybe the problem is you." "The problem," Gordon said slowly, "is that we seem to have very different values when it comes to relationships. My standard is that the person I'm with doesn't need external validation from strangers on the internet." That stung. Who was he to psychoanalyze me? "Don't try to make this about my self-esteem or whatever. This is about you being controlling." "I'm not trying to control you," he insisted. "I'm telling you what makes me uncomfortable and asking you to consider my feelings." We argued in circles for almost an hour. Him explaining why he thought my post was inappropriate, me defending my right to post whatever I wanted. Neither of us budging an inch. "Look," he finally said, "I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just being honest about how I feel. This kind of thing reflects on me too, as your boyfriend." "Oh, so that's what this is about," I said. "You're embarrassed. You're worried about what your friends think. This isn't about respect or values. It's about your ego." "That's not fair," Gordon countered. "It's about mutual respect in a relationship." "If you respected me," I fired back, "you wouldn't be asking me to change something that's important to me just because it makes you a little uncomfortable." "And if you respected me," he countered, "you would at least try to understand why it bothers me instead of dismissing my feelings." We were at an impasse. I checked my post again, over 1,200 likes now. Was this really worth fighting over? Gordon sighed, standing up. "I think we should take some time apart. Figure out what we both want." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "Are you breaking up with me?" "I don't know," he admitted. "I just know I need some space to think." And with that, he left. Just walked out of my apartment, leaving me standing there in shock. Over a freaking Instagram post. I spent the next few hours going between crying and raging. I called Alyssa, who came over with wine and ice cream, ready to trash talk Gordon. But even as she called him every name in the book, I noticed she wasn't actually saying he was wrong. She kept saying things like, "But still, he could have communicated better." Or, I get where he's coming from, but he didn't have to be such a jerk about it." "Wait," I said, narrowing my eyes at her. "Do you agree with him?" Alyssa looked uncomfortable. "I don't think he should have given you an ultimatum or whatever. But, that photo is pretty revealing, Elena, and some of those comments from guys are pretty thirsty." I kicked her out after that. Some best friend she was. The next day, I woke up to a text from Gordon. "We need to talk. Can I come over tonight?" I spent the whole day obsessing over what he might say. Was he coming to apologize? To officially break up with me? By the time he knocked on my door that evening, I'd worked myself up into a state. I'd decided he was going to apologize for overreacting, and I would graciously forgive him. But the moment I opened the door, I knew that wasn't going to happen. Gordon looked resolute, his jaw set in that stubborn way I'd come to recognize. "I've been thinking a lot about our conversation yesterday," he started, "and about our relationship in general." "Me too," I jumped in. "And I think we both said things we didn't mean." Gordon shook his head. "I meant everything I said, Elena. I don't think we want the same things. I want a relationship where both people prioritize each other's feelings, where there's mutual respect and consideration. I respect you, I protested. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like you care more about likes and comments from strangers than you do about how your actions affect me. That's not fair, I said, feeling tears spring to my eyes. You're making me choose between something that's important to me and our relationship. I never asked you to choose, Gordon said firmly. I asked you to consider my perspective, to acknowledge that my feelings matter too, but you couldn't even do that. Because your perspective is controlling and outdated, I shot back. You don't own me, Gordon. I can post whatever I want. You're right, he agreed. You absolutely can post whatever you want, and I can decide I don't want to be with someone who needs that kind of validation from other men. The words hit me like a slap. So that's it? You're breaking up with me? Over a photo? It's not about the photo, Elena. It's about us wanting fundamentally different things. Fine, I said, anger and hurt making my voice shake. Then I guess we can't be together. Gordon just looked at me for a long moment. I'm sorry you feel that way. I really did care about you, Elena. And just like that, he was walking toward the door. I felt panic rising in my chest. Gordon, wait, let's talk about this. Maybe we can compromise. He turned back. What kind of compromise did you have in mind? I fumbled. I could tone down my posts a little, be more mindful of what I share. Would you take down the beach photo? He asked directly. I hesitated. 1,500 likes. All those comments, the most engagement I'd had in months. I don't think that's necessary. It's just a beach photo. Gordon nodded like I'd confirmed something for him. That's what I thought. Goodbye, Elena. The door clicked shut behind him, and I stood there frozen. Had Gordon, my steady, reliable Gordon, actually broken up with me? Over an Instagram post? I grabbed my phone and typed out a message. You're being ridiculous. Call me when you've calmed down. I waited for a response, but nothing came. By midnight, desperation had set in. I tried calling him, but it went straight to voicemail. I left a message, my voice a mix of anger and pleading. This is insane. You're throwing away everything we had over nothing. Call me back. He didn't. By the third day of silence, my resolve was weakening. I missed him. I missed our stupid movie nights, and the way he always remembered exactly how I liked my coffee. I picked up my phone again and typed out a new message. I miss you. Can we please talk about this? I think we can work it out if we both compromise a little. His response wasn't what I expected. Elena, I've had time to think, and my decision hasn't changed. Our values are too different. I wish you the best, but I don't think we should talk anymore. Something snapped inside me. Fine. If that's how he wanted to play it, I'd show him what he was missing. I posted a new photo, one from the same beach day but even more revealing. Me in the water, bikini wet, giving the camera a sultry look. I captioned it, single and loving it. The likes and comments poured in immediately. Men I'd never met telling me how gorgeous I was, how any guy would be lucky to have me. It felt good, validating. But as night fell and I was alone in my apartment, the hollow feeling in my chest only grew. The validation from strangers felt emptier than ever. In a moment of clarity or weakness, I deleted both beach photos from my Instagram. Then I sent Gordon one last message. I took down the photos. I'm sorry for not respecting your feelings. I miss you. Can we please talk? I waited all night for a response. It never came. When I checked Instagram the next morning, I discovered he had unfollowed and blocked me. A week after the breakup, I made one last desperate attempt to talk to Gordon. I waited outside his office building, catching him as he was leaving work. Not my proudest moment. Gordon, I needed to talk to you. You blocked me everywhere. He looked uncomfortable. I blocked you because I needed space. This isn't okay, Elena. I know, I'm sorry, I said quickly. I miss you. I understand now why you were upset. I was dismissive of your feelings. Gordon's expression softened slightly, but he still looked guarded. I appreciate the apology, but I meant what I said. Our values are just too different. They don't have to be, I insisted. I can change. I'll make my Instagram private. I'll stop posting those kinds of photos. He was already shaking his head. That's not what I want. I don't want you to change who you are for me. That would just make you resent me in the long run. But I want to change, I said desperately. You were right about seeking validation from strangers. It's empty. Gordon looked at me sadly. I'm glad you've had that realization. But Elena, you only came to it after I left. You weren't willing to even consider my perspective when we were together. I understand now, I said softly. I really do. I believe that you think you do. Gordon said. But if we got back together, we'd eventually end up right back here, because fundamentally, we want different things. He walked away, not looking back once. I stood there on the sidewalk feeling like a complete idiot. That night, I deactivated my Instagram account. Not permanently, but I needed time to think, to figure out who I was without the constant validation of likes and comments. A month later, I saw Gordon at a coffee shop with a woman. Tall, blonde, exactly his type. They were laughing together, looking happy. It stung more than I expected. 6 months after our breakup, I ran into Gordon again. Literally ran into him. I was leaving a bookstore and slammed right into his chest. Elena, he said, surprised but not upset. Hi. Gordon, hi. I felt awkward. How are you? Good, he said with a small smile. Really good, actually. He looked it too. There was a lightness to him that I didn't remember from our relationship. I wanted to say I'm sorry, I found myself saying, for everything. You were right about me seeking validation from strangers, and about me not respecting your feelings. Gordon's expression softened. Thank you for saying that, I appreciate it. I've changed, I blurted out. Not for you, but for me. I realized I didn't like who I was becoming. He nodded, a small smile playing at his lips. I'm glad to hear that, Elena. Really. Instead of asking if we could try again, I found myself saying, take care of yourself, Gordon. He looked a little surprised. You too, Elena. A year after our breakup, I'm still single, still healing, still learning. My Instagram following has dropped. Turns out when you stop posting thirst traps, those loyal followers disappear. But the ones who stayed are the ones who actually care about me. I still think about Gordon sometimes, that wonder what might have been if I'd been more mature. I check his Instagram occasionally. He unblocked me eventually, and from what I can tell, he's doing well. There's a new girl in his recent photos. She's pretty, a brunette, ironically, and they look happy together. It stings, but not as much as it used to. Because the truth is, Gordon taught me something valuable. He taught me that real connection, with one person who truly cares about you, is worth more than the shallow validation of thousands of strangers. I still use social media, but differently now. I post things that matter to me. My new apartment, the dog I finally adopted, my promotion at work. I'm not chasing likes anymore. Because that beach photo? It wasn't just a cute picture. Gordon was right. It was a cry for attention, a need for validation I couldn't get from within. And while I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with posting bikini photos, I understand now why it bothered him. It wasn't about the photo itself. It was about my dismissal of his feelings, my prioritization of strangers' validation over his comfort. So to Gordon, wherever you are, with whoever you're with, thank you. And I'm sorry it took losing you for me to understand what you were trying to tell me all along.